We're back with day 19. Excellent work today in class, really hammering through some tough chain rule problems. I'm just going to have a couple of problems for you to practice the chain rule, and tomorrow we're going to practice all day on the chain rule as well. So here's a problem for you to start. Okay, so as we can see when we read this problem, there are a lot of problems that look the same. We saw this on our first test as well. I'm asking you to find the equation of the tangent line to f at x equals 8. So again, anytime I ask you to find an equation of a line, I always want you to write point and slope right away, so we make sure we don't forget to do that, because we need to write an equation of a line at the end, versus when I just asked what is the slope of the line, the slope of the tangent line to f, right? That's different. All we need is f prime of 8 then. So go ahead and write point slope. And why don't you just go ahead and try this problem on your own. Pause it right now, come back and check for the answer. Okay, we're back. First thing I want to figure out is the point. I want to do that first because I know I don't need the derivative, and I don't want to accidentally plug it into the derivative. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I know the x part of my point is 8. To find the y part of the point, I want to plug it in to f of x. 2 times 8 is 16. 16 plus 9 is 25. The square root of 25 is 5. I know I'm rocking the point 8, 5. Next, I need to find the slope. So for slope of tangent line, that's the biggest code word for derivative we have. So we know I want to find f prime of x. Taking a look at this problem, I see that, oh, I need to use the chain rule for this problem. I also want to rewrite f of x here. I'm going to rewrite f of x here as 2x plus 9 to the half power. Now, before I find f prime of 8, I want to find f prime of x. Chain rule says I do the derivative of the outside with respect to the inside times the derivative of the inside. So the derivative of the outside is half with respect to the inside, 2x plus 9 to the negative half. And now I need to multiply. Again, some of you guys are seeing it's easy to forget to do the chain part of the chain rule. And we need to multiply by the derivative of 2x plus 9, which is simply 2. Okay, simplifying this, we can see we can do a couple of different things to simplify here. You can put the 2 on the bottom with the 2x plus 9 to the half, negative half, or we can just cancel out this 2 and this half because they factor right there, and we're left with 1 over, see here, 1 over the square root of 2x plus 9. Again, if you didn't simplify those 2's and you had a 2 on top with a 2 root 2 plus 9 on the bottom, that's totally fine too. Okay, because it's going to come out in the end anyways. Okay, last thing I need to find f prime of 8. So I'm going to have 1 over the square root of 2 times 8 plus 9, and we get 1/5. So my slope is 1/5. So I know my equation of my tangent line is y minus 5 equals 1/5 x minus 8. Good. The other problem I want to do quick here before we're done, today's video will be a lot shorter. I want to look at problems that have multiple rules in them. So check this out. Okay. So here I have f of x equals cosine of x squared over e to the 4x. I want to find f prime of x. Now when we look at this problem, we need to figure out what rule we're going to use, or what rules, plural, we're going to use. Well, I see a function, cosine of x squared, divided by another function, e to the 4x. So I'm thinking quotient rule, which is correct. But I also have functions within functions here, right? Cosine of x squared, that's a function, x squared within a function, cosine. E to the 4x is a function, 4x within another function, e to the x. So I'm going to follow the quotient rule, but I need to be very careful doing this. Every time I do a derivative, if the chain rule applies, I need to execute the chain rule as part of that. Now I know that the quotient rule says the derivative of the top times the bottom minus the top times the derivative of the bottom over the bottom squared. So let's take a look at what this looks like. Go ahead and pause it, give it a try yourself. When you're done, come back. Okay, so I want to start by doing the derivative of the top times the bottom. But again, the derivative of the top is going to be a quotient, is going to be a chain rule. So the derivative of the top will be negative sine of x squared times, that's the derivative of the outside with respect to the inside, times the derivative of the inside. But all I've done so far is the derivative of the top. I need to also multiply by the bottom. Now I have to subtract the top function, cosine of x squared, times the derivative of the bottom. The derivative of the bottom is e to the 4x times 4. That has a chain rule as well. So since both functions had a chain rule, both parts here had chain rule implications. And I got to divide the whole thing by e to the 4x squared. So a lot to do on this problem. Cleaning this thing up a little bit, here's what I get. Oops, can't see it. I'm going to take my coefficients and put them out front. So I'm going to say negative 2x sine of x squared e to the 4x minus 4 cosine of x squared e to the 4x. All I did is put this 4 out front. All I did was put this 2x out front with the negative. And again, I'm dividing the whole thing by e to the 4x squared. Now I could have made a simplification. Power to a power there, I could have called that e to the 8x on the bottom, but I want to leave it as e to the 4x so I can see that it's going to cancel with the e to the 4x's that are in both parts on top. So this e to the 4x is gone, this e to the 4x is gone, and one of those e to the 4x's is gone from the bottom. So I get a final simplified answer as f prime of x equals negative 2x sine of x squared minus 4 cosine of x squared over e to the 4x. Good. That's all for today. We're going to be practicing the chain rule a lot in class, so just be ready for it. It's a great rule. You're going to have fun. See you tomorrow. Happy almost Friday. 2 chains.